going on over there?
He's pushing that box.
What box?
Where'd you get that?
What? Oh.
What was that?
That's from Petco. I bought it for him.
That's a carrier?
Yeah. It was $8. Because the other ones were like $80.
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
the fancy ones.
Where are you going to put it? Because he's going
Here.
Look.
No. Okay. You can play in it later.
Fuck you, Oscar. Fuck you.
Like moving it.
Get out of here. Get out of town.
Wild. He just ate, so he's all like...
Yeah.
Eventually he'll crash.
He's losing his shit. Are we recording? Yes, we are.
Okay. We've been recording the whole time?
Just a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Maddie.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to get in touch with somebody about the theme song.
Mm.
Did you ever do that?
No. I could call... we could call the Nard Dog.
We can call the Nard Dog? What would that sound like? Do it.
Oh, well.
Oh, god damn it, dude. What? You're just gonna look all innocent now?
She is such an ass.
What do you want, dude?
Look at her.
I know. We're gonna put you away, too. Get down. Hey, folks. Thanks for joining us today. It looks like we have something of a technical difficulty today. Our cat has been disrupting our recording process for the last 20 minutes.
Both of them.
Both of them, actually, scratching boxes.
Playing with rocks.
Playing with rocks. So we apologize for this inconvenience, as the show is starting on a weird path right now. But we're going to try to get on track. So typically it would be easier to smooth out these cracks if we had a theme song, but we kind of dropped the ball on that. But welcome to the theme song-less episode of Our Kids Asleep. And this is Jay Alejandro and
Maddie. We have a name.
We have a name for a podcast. That's great news, actually.
Our Kids Asleep. Not on Apple Podcasts.
Not on Apple Podcasts right now.
It's a work in progress.
So again, this would have been a really smooth premiere if it weren't for my potty mouth, because I made the great mistake of using the word shit show on the episode description of our show, and iTunes did not like that. So I've been emailing them back and forth trying to get the show into iTunes, but it's really not been successful at all.
We've made the necessary revisions. So hopefully it'll be on there soon. So
I guess now it's an understanding that I have that we can say shit show in a variety of different bits of profanity, but we can't actually write it down in the descriptions or any of the podcast names or iconography. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Anyway, without further ado, what's on the agenda tonight?
We've been brainstorming segments that we'd like to have on the podcast.
Yes.
There's a couple that we have in mind. One of them is an internet segment, because me in particular, I'm not particularly internet savvy.
In some areas, I think you just don't go into the deep, dark recesses of the internet like your brother does.
Yeah, well, you show me things sometimes on Reddit, and I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. Yeah. And you have to spend 20 minutes explaining the origins of that meme to me.
It's a very self-referential kind of world that has a lot of layers, and we feel that if we were to bring an expert on the matter on the show, I think that it would be really interesting to sort of get to hear those perspectives and get to know more about what is going on in the internet and what all the young people are talking about. Because when you get old, it's kind of hard to keep up with these kids.
And I think my brother is more than equipped to explain the more obscure parts of the internet to me and to you in some cases.
Yeah.
So that's something that's in the works.
Yeah, so coming soon, Caddy G will be joining us. That's a stage name, by the way. That'd be great if it was his actual name.
Yeah.
Like going through school.
My parents would have been so progressive.
Yeah.
Another segment we were thinking of was something with our friend Dawn, who is a wine expert.
Yeah. We have yet to ask our friends.
No, we haven't asked
to
anybody
do this,
anything.
but hey,
These are just ideas.
Yeah, the door's still open for.
You are welcome to shoot us down if you have no desire to be on this podcast.
Yeah. It was like, dear Jay and Maddie, I don't want to be involved in this shit show. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Signing off. And, that's with love. You could even sign off with love because I totally understand.
Yeah.
But if you guys are bored, let us know. We will be here.
Maybe we could have Teresa on to talk about movies.
Exactly.
She's wonderful.
Exactly. There's definitely time on the schedule, on the agenda.
My friend Ashley was texting me today. She had some really good ideas of topics to talk about. And I said, well, let's have you on. Come on the podcast and let's talk about it.
Let's get you guys on the airwaves. And I did come up with a wonderful idea that I thought I'd want to share with you all. If you have any thoughts or impressions that have come over you during the week, please let us know. So if you guys want to leave us a message, you can call our voicemail number, which is this brand new fancy number I just made up on Google. It's 307-228-4353. That is 307-228-4353. If you guys want to talk for hours about what's going on in your life or what kind of struggles you're experiencing, or if there's some lighthearted shit that you want to talk about too, let us know and we'll be here for you.
Maybe have a voicemail prepared because I don't know what the time limit is on a Google voicemail.
Yeah, I have no idea. Try it out. Try it out. See what happens.
Yeah.
Hey, in the meantime, we'll be in touch with you.
So we've got a lot of things in the works. We've got some segments. We've got some topics that we want to touch on.
Yeah.
Speaking of try it out.
Yes.
We're seeing a certain comedian this weekend, and I am pumped.
We're pretty stoked. We get to go down to Denver to experience the main mommy.
Yeah. We're going to go see Christina P., the main mommy at Comedy Works.
And it will be fucking sick.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
So excited.
So, shout out to all you mommies out there.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Christina Pajitsky is a comedian. She hosts a podcast called Your Mom's House with her husband, Tom Segura, also a comedian. And they're awesome.
So try it out.
Try it out.
Go listen to their podcast or watch their shows on Netflix because they're fairly irreverent, but very amazing and hysterical.
Yeah. It's going to be a nice little tiny vacation down to Denver. So it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of interesting that it sort of coincides with Valentine's Day and the first time that we started dating. I thought it was kind of appropriate. So that's our mini vacation. We're not going to be like live streaming it or hashtagging anything, but maybe we'll talk about it next time and share some of those wonderful secrets on how to stay happily married for a long time. So I guess that's happening now. I'm realizing like
that we've been happily married for a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's been sort of a weird thing that just happened.
Well, and we started dating like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
13 years ago?
It's going to be 13 years ago because it was 2006.
Yeah.
Because we're goddamn old. Like our relationship is older than Twitter.
Yeah. Yep. That's a thing.
So, yeah. So I did need to say that, right?
When I was first dating you, I didn't text.
Mm-hmm.
We started texting. You were the first person I ever texted.
Yeah. That was very special.
Well, maybe not. I don't know that for sure. But you were one of the first people I ever texted.
I'm really at a loss for words at that. I feel like a generation is now here and we're sort of supposed to step back and sort of like what the baby boomers are probably feeling right now where I'm like, wait, this is my time. No, dude, your time was 10 years ago and you blew it. You know?
I actually kind of, well, maybe other younger people don't feel this, but I feel that my 30s are going to be the best decade ever.
Yeah, because you don't give a shit.
It's going to be my time to shine.
We just let go and you know who you are. You know what you have to offer and it's all fair game. It's good to go.
Okay. So yesterday was my last day of the 30-day yoga challenge.
Yes. Tell me about that.
So 30 days, every single day, I showed up. I didn't do makeup days. I didn't skip a day. I did all 30 effing days. And I was pretty proud of myself. I am proud of myself.
That's incredible.
So the way that these videos work is it's just guided yoga. She walks you through stuff. She talks about technique and reminds you to breathe and just the alignment and all of that stuff. Very guided. But the last video and apparently this is a tradition. I've never done one of these before with her, so I don't know the traditions. But the last episode, she takes off her microphone and she doesn't guide. She just lets you sort of turn inward and do what feels good for you. You can follow along with her if you want. You can do the same thing she's doing, or you can modify it for your purposes. And there was sort of just like soft music playing over it. And it was like weirdly emotional, which I was not expecting at all.
Well, it's a conclusion to all of this hard work. And
yeah, that was part of it. But there was something very like connected or like emotionally connected about doing yoga in silence with what is probably millions of other people doing the same thing, and just sort of doing it all together, but not necessarily being instructed, just sort of doing it.
Yeah, and
being there.
What I would imagine that feeling could be is celebration.
Yeah.
Personal celebration that you went through that whole journey and you were able to apply everything that you learned on the way. It's sort of like, okay, here's the keys to the car, now it's your turn to drive. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that too. But you didn't feel alone either. You didn't feel like you were just alone doing it. Which is, it's an interesting thing about the internet, that it's like the best side of the internet, of that community feeling.
Yeah.
Even if you're alone in your own living room. It's really strange, because I would read the comments on her posts and it's just a bunch of people expressing exactly the same feelings.
Yeah. And that goes to show you that she's obviously doing something right, because she's able to generate that much excitement about her craft and what she's delivering, the kind of message that she's sharing with the world. And it's not just a handful of people accepting that, but it's a whole community that she's built around that positive educational thing that
There's
she's doing.
also just, I feel like these are a lot of cliche, like buzzwords, but it's, the inclusivity of it, the authenticity of her, the genuineness of her,
Yeah, and remind us, what's her name and
So the channel is, the YouTube channel is Yoga with Adrienne. She's a yoga instructor, and she's been doing these videos for quite a few years. She's like 4.5 million YouTube subscribers. Like, it's a huge...
That's a respectable
thing.
Yeah. YouTube following for sure.
And she's wonderful.
Yeah, but you mentioned also when you were done today that you were starting a series from a long time ago.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel curates a practice for each month. So January's was this 30-day dedicate journey. February is a care. That's the name of it, care. And it's just compiled videos from her channel that fit into that motif, into that theme. But the first video was a little bit older, but it fit into the theme. And despite the fact that you can see the evolution of her production value as the channel grew, the feelings are still the same.
Right.
The connection is still there. The gentleness and the kindness and the compassion is still there.
So her personality
is, it's still there. And it's
the core of who she is, or her message was pretty much the same from the beginning. But how long ago would you say that was?
That video was, it said it was from about a year ago. So
which is a huge leap, considering
what
she is
what
now.
The dedicate videos look like. It's a big deal. I mean, YouTube channels can just explode. I mean,
right.
I think the H3 YouTube channel became like a huge sensation in like less than 3 years.
Which is amazing.
And they've got like millions of subscribers now. Yeah.
And I don't know the genesis of that podcast. I just know that they were on your mom's house, and that's really the only thing that I
the H3 so the H3 YouTube channel is Ethan and Ela Klein. They're a married couple. They started a YouTube channel in Israel, actually, when they were living in Israel. And it was just like sketches and like funny videos, and it sort of evolved.
Like commentary? Is that kind of...
I don't know. It's comedy sketches and just like weird stuff.
I still haven't looked into them enough. I thought they were more like an interview podcast.
They are now.
But they didn't used to be?
They didn't used to be.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's sort of evolved. But they've got a huge following. Yeah. But it just doesn't take very long on YouTube. I guess for some people, it doesn't take very long.
Right. But you have to have the right material. You have to be driven and consistent.
That's true.
And committed to the cause, whatever it is that you're interested in sharing. So that's why it's...
Well, and YouTube has changed a lot, too. So even what worked 5 years ago may not work now.
Right.
So...
It's an ever-evolving thing, but there's a lot of content out there for anyone and everyone.
And, I mean, you can... these videos have been life-changing. Like, this yoga channel has been life-changing for me. And... and it's not just the yoga itself. It's just the act of showing up every single day, consistently for 30 days. Mm-hmm. That is a huge achievement for me. Yeah. And it sounds small and it sounds kind of pathetic, but I think it's, for someone like me personally, that is such a huge accomplishment. Mm-hmm. So.
And I'm incredibly proud of you for that. But that's the sort of thing that people need to focus on instead of wanting to get likes or instead of wanting to be famous online. I feel like people are distracted by the wrong things. Even if it's not social media, it's just, you have to find something that will give you little cures for whatever's ailing you daily. Mm-hmm. And doing yoga like that, the way that you're doing, it's been very transformative. We all need that medicine. Mm-hmm. We all need a little bit of that to
I definitely feel more mental clarity throughout my day. Even if I'm not conscious of it all the time, I do feel different. Mm. And speaking of like social media, I had the thought after I finished that I was like, oh, I should like take a selfie and like post about it. And then I was like, no, I don't need to do that.
Maybe not.
This isn't for anybody but me.
Right. And there's a sort of a purity in that, and just being able to own that moment for yourself and just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, we're sharing it now, but obviously it's feels
after the fact.
Yeah, but it's less of like a grandstanding kind of statement, like, "Hey, world, look at what I'm doing. Look at how great I am."
It's like the gym selfie, just kind of.
Yeah.
And I did have that thought, and I think. Do you have this? Do you feel shame when you're taking a selfie in front of other people?
I've never done that because
Why?
I'm ashamed.
Because you're ashamed.
I'm terribly ashamed.
I feel embarrassed when I take selfies in front of other people. I will like leave. If I want to take a selfie, which is rare, it doesn't happen often. I will leave and go to another room. Because how many times does it take you to get a good looking selfie? It takes like a lot of takes. Yeah. And it's embarrassing to take that many pictures of yourself in front of somebody. It's like, just give me the fucking phone. I'll take it.
Are you done?
So I think part of it was shame of not wanting to take a selfie in front of you because that's fucking embarrassing.
Well, babe, I'm not going to judge you, but
I
that's
know.
Why, but I do understand what you mean.
But I think there's a healthy level of shame that some people need to aspire to.
Yeah. Get your shit together. Don't take so many pictures of yourself.
Not that there's anything wrong with selfies. I just think that some people take too many. But yeah, it feels really good to finish it and to do what I set out to accomplish and to know that I did it the way that I intended to.
Right.
No compromises.
And it was great. Now I just hope that you continue it, which I'm sure you will.
I did tonight. I did the next
but
video.
I'm saying...
I know. I know what I'm saying. I know what you're saying.
Did you not listen to the first 10 minutes of our conversation?
All right, John Mulaney.
It's a husband trait to just disregard everything that you've been saying. So I'm trying to do better.
It's okay.
But it does make a big difference. Now, I'm still a little bit proud of myself. I've still gotten on the bike.
Yeah.
That's sort of my warm-up thing. But I do want to be more physically active. And last night it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I went downstairs. I put something on, whether it's music or a podcast, maybe a movie. I started watching Godzilla. Remember the old 96 Godzilla?
With Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, the one that you hate.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
It was a classic though when I was
It's never been a classic.
Okay. All right. We'll have that conversation later.
I hate Matthew Broderick.
Might be another segment.
There's no redeeming qualities about Matthew Broderick.
He has a good voice. He was Simba.
I know.
Grown up Simba.
I didn't believe you when you told me. I didn't believe you.
Yeah,
I still don't really believe you that he was Simba because it just doesn't make sense.
Okay, we need to really clear the room here for a moment, or clean. What the fuck do you call that? Clear the air a little bit.
Acknowledge the elephant in the room.
the Matthew Broderick-sized elephant in the room. Why the hate for the man? I mean, I don't like him either. He's not my favorite actor, but I'm not going to go out of my way to dismiss him.
I don't really know, because I like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Okay, maybe that's all I like him in.
I think it's his beady little eyes, the fact that he married Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, that's a strike against him. But I just don't think he's that good of an actor.
He's just very plain.
I just think he's himself in every act, like in every role. I don't think he's, I just don't think he's very good. And I've never seen him sing, so I'm not 100%. I don't 100% believe you that he can sing. I feel like a conspiracy theorist. How do you know he's singing?
How can you prove it?
Yeah, prove it.
When did men land on the moon? Is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I get what you mean.
Like Alex Jones over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were watching Godzilla.
But I was watching Godzilla, and just to get myself in the zone of sort of like distraction, just doing it more casually. I'm doing 30 minutes on the bike now. Most of them are kind of like 50% warming up, and then the other 15 is more involved, more intense. As I try to learn more about what I need to do to just kind of get into better shape, and especially when I got the blood draw, I got more self-conscious about certain things. Some of the results in there that I feel like more what do you call it? The HIIT training would be more ideal for me.
The high intensity interval training.
Yeah, and I was reading a podcast too, the NPR one, the Life Kit one. Yeah,
Life Kit. I was just going to say we should talk about that.
Which one did you listen to?
We listened to the one about just sort of starting slow, not going in too hard in the beginning. And also about the one with the trainer, the trainer that Ruth Bader Ginsburg uses. Yeah,
and I started re-listening to that one because I thought that there were some really good tips in that. What I took from it is that you can really take advantage of a good 22 to 25 minute workout and you can really maximize that time.
Yeah.
To work on some key areas, not just cardio, but just some other high intensity kind of work. And all I have to do now is just kind of get past this warming up process, because the bike is just cardio. It's not like a life-changing thing.
There's no weights. There's
no... Yeah. But physically, I do feel like it's helping my knees a lot. It's helping my back a bit.
Cardio is good for your heart, good for your lungs.
So I'm just going to keep at it. And this is more of a long-term thing. So I've been doing it every day. And if I miss a day for whatever reason because of work, I just make it up. So I haven't technically lost any time. And from then on, we'll keep adding stuff to it. So that'll be on the horizon.
These podcasts from NPR, it's called Life Kit, and there's fitness, there's like financial advice, there's all sorts of stuff. It's just like to help you live your life in a better, better.
Which I think is a great idea. They're really catering to the people who are on the go, the working class people who just need to have a little bit of value for their limited time that they have. And it's been working really good for my commute because I can finish the podcast, which is 25 minutes, on the way to work and then on the way back. So I've been trying to fill those gaps of time with stuff that will benefit me and kind of make me a little bit better so that I will not be garbage.
And that's sort of my goal with yoga. So the goal with yoga is to do it every day for a year, for 365 days. But in addition to that, I feel that building that discipline is going to help me sort of segue into other forms of exercise, because obviously yoga is not really, it can be cardio if you're doing different types of yoga that are more aerobic, but it's just sort of
it's your way in.
My way in,
into change.
To disciplined exercise regularly, because the discipline part is the part that I struggled with.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm starting there, I think, is going to help me be successful later.
Right. And I totally believe that you have to have a buy-in into the project, into yourself. And it's really difficult for me. And we're speaking from a point of view of pretty much couch potatoes. We love being comfortable. We love just kind of being here and enjoying our time together, but not really being like physically active all the time. As Maddie nods her head, yeah, very sternly, it is not something that we're fond of.
It's not my default.
But when you get to your 30s, you sort of have to start thinking about...
You mentioned a blood draw. Blood draws in your 30s as opposed to blood draws in your 20s. Two very different experiences.
Very different things, yeah. You start to sweat a little bit more when you go as a 33-year-old man who hasn't been working out or eating very healthy. But I know that there's room to improve. That's sort of the thing, is I saw that and I got a little concerned that I wasn't doing the right things. I mean, I don't go and eat McDonald's every night as much as I would love to, but I'm in a decent starting point to make a change.
Yeah.
And so this sounds a little bit morbid, but the only thing that was able to change my mind about just being more physically active, and it's worked for the last 4 weeks, has been not just the blood draw, but also this thought that I've had in my mind, like, my wife needs me for the rest of my life. My son needs me to take care of him for as long as I can be here. And if I don't start taking care of myself now and helping myself, that's not going to happen. You know, you really have to maximize the body that you have. And I'm starting to take that more seriously. Yes, sometimes because we're busy during the week, we're not able to make the best decisions, you know, in regards to our diet, but we do have control, and most importantly, we have time to make a change. And so what I tell myself when I get on the bike at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, the other day I got on the bike at 11:30 because, you know, we had been hanging out, and I just tell myself, this is what you have to do to see your son tomorrow. And it sounds incredibly morbid, like the way it works in my head. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is your ticket to tomorrow. If you don't do this now, even if this little incremental step, it may not seem like much, but if you don't do this, it's going to hurt you later. So that has really been the only way to help me push a little bit further to get that done. And it sort of caters to like a lot of my existential fears, but it's working, and soon enough, that'll make a big difference.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're working on it. We're a work in progress, and, you know, we can move on to something a little more pleasant like memes.
Yeah. So last week we talked about, was it last week that we talked about the Fire Festival document? Okay.
Yeah. Goes fast, huh?
Yeah. So we talked about the Fire Fest documentaries on Netflix and Hulu. And in the Hulu documentary, we talked about Andy King, who was a producer for the Fire Festival. He was the man that was asked to take one for the team and to go down to the customs office and offer to suck a man's penis to get the Evian water through customs. So an interesting thing has happened since then.
As it tends to happen
As
online.
it tends to happen, yeah, as the internet tends to do. Andy King himself has become aware of the response to the documentary, to him specifically, because he is now everyone's favorite friend goal. Like, he's like friendship goals, which is what the internet calls him. He's friendship goals. Like, when someone said everyone needs a friend like Andy King, who is willing to go suck someone's dick out of sheer loyalty.
Oh my God. I don't understand.
And I stumbled upon this little interview that Netflix did, like a follow-up interview with him, just talking about the immense response that this documentary has had and the effects that it's had. And this man, he doesn't have social media, so he doesn't understand what trending means, but his friends were like, dude, you're trending. And he's like, I don't know what that means.
Does he care?
Well, he was flattered, it seemed, but he didn't really understand what it meant. And his friend said, you're a meme. And he said, what's a meme? And so they had to show him, you know, these pictures that people are creating using his face.
Oh my God.
I wrote down a couple examples that were pretty funny. So there was one that had like his picture at the top of the list, and then underneath it was like Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and it says choose your payment method. And his picture was like chosen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then there was another one, it was like his face in like an Evian ad, because the Evian water, and it says, Evian, take one for the team.
Oh my.
It's just silly internet memes. And
Well, if anything, he's going to get a lot of money out of this. I'm sure he'll pick up some sponsorship.
yeah, maybe.
He should hopefully use his notoriety for something.
Well, and he
great.
talked about that, actually. He said, experiencing this quote-unquote 15 minutes of fame because of this documentary, he's sort of using it to do some good. And he mentioned the GoFundMes for the Bahamian workers who were jilted, who were not paid.
Yeah.
Specifically, Marianne, that woman who fed all of the workers and all of the people.
Yeah.
And she used her own savings, all of her savings, to buy that food to feed these people.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Because they didn't have any money to feed these people. And she literally wiped out her whole savings, had no money. And GoFundMe raised over $200,000.
Oh, wow.
For her.
Good for her.
And Andy King was saying that in addition to that, they're also working to raise money to pay back all of the laborers that worked to build the infrastructure.
Yeah, because they were saying they worked for months, right?
Yeah, months. And none of those people saw a dime.
That's fucked up. Yes.
Not a dime.
Yeah.
And so, if nothing else positive comes out of this documentary, at least those poor people will eventually see some money.
Who are the real victims of the whole ordeal, in my opinion?
Yeah.
Obviously, the kids...
The kids who got screwed
swindled.
out of money, yes, of course, that's not good either. But these people, they
were hoping for that dream to come true.
Yeah, well, and it would have been
a
great, yeah, exactly. It would have been a really positive change for their economy if that had become an established thing.
Yeah.
And they just completely just dashed their hopes of anything like that happening. And they literally worked for free for months.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like normal work hours. It was like...
Not round the clock.
Round the clock.
Nonstop.
Yeah. Not sleeping, not eating, really poor working conditions.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andy King. I was going to say Andy Dick for some reason. I don't know why. Because the Dick. Yeah. I get you. Well, I was going to toast to Andy King because he deserves...
The most loyal producer
in the world.
I thought that was sort of a fun, positive thing to come out of such an awful, awful situation.
Yeah, we got to look on the bright side of things. And on that note, we did have another segment that I wanted to bring up called Sponsors That We Wish We Had. And we didn't really talk about this very often, but I thought it was a good idea that you came up with. Who would be an ideal sponsor for us if we were to be in that position?
Like a normal podcast sponsor, or
just like dream big. Let's see what we got here. I have a couple now.
I know one that you hear on podcasts all the time that I always really want is MeUndies.
MeUndies.
They're the best, but they're very pricey.
They're very expensive, yes.
Because they're really good.
Yeah, we saved about 3 paychecks worth to get that one pair, right?
I bought us a matching pair as a fun gift. Yeah, they were expensive.
They're still good. They're all silky and very comfy.
I haven't bought any since.
Yeah.
I've been treating my...
We haven't bought any clothes since. That was our budget for 3 months.
I've been treating my one pair very delicately, washing it very carefully.
Wear it on special occasions when we go to the, I don't know, to the loaf and jug.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. I thought that maybe, Goober peanut butter. That'd be pretty good. Sometimes, after I went to the vet and we got some really ambiguous news about whether our cat Phoebes would be okay, I came home and I was feeling a little down, but the one thing that picked me up was just a spoonful of that peanut butter and jelly mix in that. It's not disgusting. Don't look at me like it's an incredibly disgusting thing.
So nasty.
It's magical. It lifted my spirits and it was a wonderful gift.
It's not even real peanut butter.
It doesn't matter. It put a smile on my face. I thought you'd be happy for me. That's what I thought.
Oh, God.
Okay. Well, Goober, I tried. We'll have to figure something out. Something that
Goober and MeUndies.
Yeah.
Sponsors we wish we had. There's plenty of other sponsors I wish we had, but...
We'll talk about them next time. Let's move on to the next bit.
A friend of mine texted me, and she had an idea for something she wanted to talk about. Something that's close to her heart, something that's been on her mind. She wanted to talk about how having a specific college degree, whether it's education or a law degree or a medical degree, or the really specialized degrees that you can really only do one thing with. How having a degree like that pigeonholes someone into one career forever.
Mm-hmm. Like the skills aren't, maybe society feels that some of those skills aren't transferable, so they
I mean, if you have an education degree, what else are you going to do aside from teach? Right? Like, there's not much else you can do.
Right.
And, so if you have a degree like that, and you decide maybe this isn't for you, or maybe, not everybody wants to do one thing for 50 years and then retire. People our age are working in a field for 10 years, and then they change paths. And then they work in that field for 10 years, and then they change paths. Yeah. So it's not uncommon for people, who people our age who will eventually be of retiring age to have had 2 or 3 career paths in one lifetime.
At least.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
And so I think that idea of having a really specific degree and working in that field for the rest of your adult working life is sort of archaic now. Yeah. It's not as realistic.
Yeah, the system moves a lot faster now, and that's the thing, is some of the previous norms of what a career should be are being redefined every single year, every single week, especially with these ideas of new careers. You sort of have to reinvent yourself every single day to stay afloat. And it's incredibly difficult if the world is just always telling you to stay in your lane, which is, it's the way of the world. That's how it's always worked. Stay in your lane, be quiet, do your thing, and you'll survive. Yeah. And really, that's the bare minimum that you get. You'll survive. Yeah. But I think that we should save some of this commentary when we have a couple of friends over. Maybe we should try to get them in next week or the week after. I think that'd be a really good idea. Yeah. Because
I'd really like to talk about that with people who we know who have these specialized degrees.
Right. And it speaks a lot about sort of our generation, too, about the quandary that we're in, trying to appease the perception of what we're supposed to be versus what we want to be, what we are looking to achieve. And whether that's obtainable or not, I don't know, but it feels more and more like it may not be possible because of the way the world is set up. But we can talk about that in the coming episodes, but we'd love to start that conversation. Yeah. Thanks, friend.
Yeah. Thanks for the idea that we will be including you in.
Yes. I just really, this is, and I keep saying this is just an excuse to talk to my friends who I miss and love dearly. So if you guys are out there, let us know, and we'll give you a call while we're recording, or leave us a message, shoot us an email, let us know your feelings, because I feel that the best way for us to make it through and overcome some of this difficult shit that we have to deal with as grown-ups who don't want to be grown-ups sometimes is to just band together, help each other out, and listen to each other. So if you're out there, we want to listen to you too. God knows we're babbling enough for everyone.
You don't have to just listen to us.
Yes.
You can contribute too.
Well, what do you think? You going to keep it a short one? I was going to look at NPR because that's always a good one for me. NPR News, the top stories. Of course, the White House, blah, 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 president shit show. It's really just about the same. So, Dawn, you didn't miss anything today while you were out of the country, nor this week. It's been just the same old shit show, and we hope that it becomes less of a shit show by the time you get back.
I haven't honestly paid too much attention to the news this week. I listen to the news every day, but I don't know. Nothing was really sticking this week.
It's been pretty bad. After the shutdown, I feel that we got burned out.
Yeah.
We really just...
I know
it got beaten into the ground.
I know the State of the Union's coming up.
And to be honest with you folks, I've been living my life in ignorance this week. It was pretty rough. We had some long days at work, and I had to go out of town for work. Things were pretty jam-packed. And so sometimes when you're an individual who works 40 hours a week at least, you have to set the world aside and focus on survival. So that is what this week was, a little bit of survival. Now, maybe next week I'll be a little bit more informed, but we will always try. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my notes.
Oh, I thought you were going to Google how to end a podcast.
No, I was looking at my notes. I had genuine notes. This is a professional enterprise. We're doing our best here. Well, folks, I think what we're going to do is we're going to call it a night, but I want to thank you all so much for taking a moment to listen. And again, if you get a chance to subscribe or listen to the show, please follow us on Spotify. We're working on the iTunes thing. And of course, if you want to share something, friends, with us about some of the things that you're seeing on the internet, or maybe just the shit that you're going through in whatever end of the world you're at, let us know. Leave us a voicemail at 307-228-4353, or just shoot us a text message or an email if you have that information already, because we don't want to open the floodgates either. I mean, let's start with our friends and work our way out. Mm-hmm. But that's all we had for tonight. What do you think?
I think that's good. I'm ready for bed already. On Friday night.
All right, we're old, guys. We're going to go to bed, but you folks have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye. 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 Bye.